Welcome back. Let's talk about some of the basic RPG considerations that you're going to need to have that you may not otherwise learn. So let me dispel some common myths about gear and stuff, especially for the first difficulty. So when it comes to your equipment, this is honestly the only real important advice that I have for the tutorial difficulty. It will change, and I refer to this difficulty as the tutorial difficulty because you can get away with so much, and the game is quite generous about all sorts of things, whether it be damage or survivability or whatnot. If you're having difficulty, chances are it's going to be because you need to learn the game mechanics a bit more rather than, say, having a cream of the crop build. A build will, of course, make things easier for you, but it comes at the expense of you really learning the game. So again, take it at your own pace, do what you want, and you'll be okay. But if you are just starting the game, here's my advice. When it comes to equipment, just literally do pretty much what I'm going to say. Take literally whatever has higher defense value, okay? Pretty much at all times. There is one caveat to this, which I will explain in a moment. But for now, just equip, hey, look, higher defense. All right, let's just go with that. Okay, cool. All right. Okay, great. Let's take that. Whoa, my equipment weight exceeds my character limit. I kind of glossed over that. So that's actually touching upon what I wanted to warn you about. So there is one thing you should remember, obviously be below 100% equipment weight, but even more importantly, my advice is going to be below 70% equipment weight. You want that to be 70%. You want to have that number turn up green. So let's address that. Well, let's just unassign my helmet. Okay, well now my equipment weight is 85.4%. Not good enough in my opinion. So let's reduce it further. Let's see. Will getting rid of this make a good impact? Not really. What if I just don't equip them? Oh, sweet! What do you know? 69.9%. Wow. Great. And you notice how that number is green? That is good. You want your equipment weight, especially if you're a beginner, to be below 70% at all times, because otherwise in C agility or D agility, your key consumption, your resource use is just going to go off the charts, and it's going to be like fat rolls the whole time, and it's just terrible to play. All right, straight up awful. So make sure you are always below 70% weight on this for first difficulty. If you want to go to higher agilities, which I don't necessarily recommend, you can do so, but again, the gameplay is going to get it's going to get a lot trickier, and not in a good way either. There is one other number that you can go below. So for example, let's say I decide, hey, I want to go butt naked, or maybe not butt naked. Let's just put on some arbitrary armor. Oh, nice. Great. Full cat cosplay, just what I wanted. Okay, so you see that equipment weight at the top is 29.7%. If you're under 30%, then you'll have A agility, so you can you'll be able to dodge a little faster. You'll just feel lighter on your feet, and it's pretty good, fast-paced gameplay. But here's the one major problem. So you see that number, and let me show you right here. You see this number, toughness, right here? So what exactly is toughness? Toughness is a measurement of your ability to resist key damage and from being staggered with attacks. You notice how the number is yellow, right? It's 80. Yeah, you don't want that. You want that to be above 100 so that you can actually withstand some hits and don't have to play as perfectly, which is why I'm personally advising that you stay... I don't want this. Oh, I don't want that either. I'm personally advising you stay at the sweet spot of B agility, B toughness for when you start out, because 69.9% B agility is good. You can play the entirety of this game from now all the way through the end game at this agility, and you'll do well. With toughness, if you have over 100 toughness, it's great. If you have over 200 toughness, it's even better. But right now, we're not able to do that because we can't equip as much. So that's something we'll have to worry about when we decide to level up, but we're not there yet. Also, let me answer a quick question that I've had asked to me before. Does it matter if, say, in between 30 and 70% agility, whether I'm at like 35% or 40% or 45%? The answer is no. It's just down to the grades. So if you're at A agility, it doesn't matter if you're at 0% to 30%, it's just a flat A agility. So it's agility classes. Now, toughness, on the other hand, is a little different. There is differences in between, say, 100 and 200. Naturally, the higher, the better. But don't worry about that too much. The biggest differences are going to be going just over 100 and just over 200. So yeah, you'll be fine if you're at B agility and B toughness for the majority of the game. And then as you get more comfortable, you can kind of change things around. Okay, now I did touch on stats very briefly. I was talking about leveling up. So let me have a very brief discussion about what core stats are about. I don't want this to get too overwhelming because there is, in all honesty, a ton of information in this game. And as you can see, there's numbers here in every capacity. There's so much to remember. You've got numbers here to fiddle with, more numbers here, more numbers here. You know, it can be overwhelming. So let's just give you the most important information you need for right now, which is, let's start with core stats. This is fortunately pretty straightforward. So what's going on here? We've got Constitution. Basically, you want more life, put points into here. You've got Heart. You want more ki so you can take more actions. Put points here. You want to recover your ki faster. Well, then put more points here. Stamina is the stat I actually think is the most important in the beginning of the game, and that's simply because not only do you get a little bit of a life boost, not as much as Constitution, but you can increase your equipment weight. So you can equip heavier armors, which is huge. So if you find yourself just over 70%, then maybe just put a point or two in stamina until you get to the point you want to be. And it's really, really valuable for that reason. So you can equip heavier armors, maybe push your toughness closer to 200, which makes a huge difference in terms of your resistance to attacks and getting staggered and taking ki damage. You feel a lot tankier, and it's good. When it comes to strength, it's not as important of a stat in terms of just raw ability. It allows you to activate heavier armor stat requirements, which I will show you, and then it gives you some resistance and whatever. Skill is very similar, but it's more for light armor effects. Dexterity allows you to use more ninja tools. Magic is for more magic tools, and again, there's a lot to cover with that. Let me give you one other equipment consideration you should keep in mind. Aside from, hey, just equip stuff that has higher defense, which I talked about before. So let me show you with my headpiece. You see the valve helmet? Yes, very artistically awesome. See this at the bottom? Constitution required 6. So I am actually not able to take advantage of the special effects simply because I do not have enough Constitution. So if I want to take advantage of the special effects, which, I mean, you kind of want to, then I would need to have more Constitution. I think I only have 5. I need to have 6 in order to be able to equip this. And so even with equipment pieces such as this, the cat ears, I need to have 9 Constitution and 9 skill. So in case you're worried, like, hey, am I going to need to have like 70 in a certain stat in order to be able to take advantage of it? Fortunately, the answer is no. I think the cap goes up to maybe like 20 or something, 20 or 30 at absolute max from what I've seen, so it's really not that stringent. And in the beginning of the game, fortunately, it's not much of a concern. But if you really want to tap into this stat right away and these equipments, then you would have to get these stats. But like, that's pretty much it when it comes to your armor. Unfortunately, there is no such requirement when it comes to weapons. As you can see, there's no stat requirement whatsoever, and that's nice. It means you can trade out your weapons whenever the hell you. So hopefully you've kind of have a good grasp on what weapons appeal to you, and yeah, and if you change your mind, you just pick up another weapon, like I said before. So let me explain very briefly what's going on with just general equipment. So I kind of glossed. I didn't really go over this when it came to armor, but armor, there are 3 classes of armor. You've got heavy armor, so you got 3 little weights here. You've got medium armor, which is 2, and then light armor, which is 1. The trade-offs, I think, are pretty self-explanatory. Heavy armor you can equip and you'll be tankier. Light armor, you'll be able to feel more light on your feet and You move faster, but you take more damage, so I don't think there's too much I need to go into. Again, the most important stat, aside from making sure your equipment weight is below 70%, is making sure you get enough defense. And when it comes to like set bonuses, as you can see here, like, yeah, it's cool you get these set bonuses, but don't worry about this in the new game. Just take whatever has higher defense and allows you to maintain a sub 70% equipment weight, and then you'll be good to go. That's it. That's all you need to worry about at this time. When you beat the game for the first time, then you can start worrying about builds. Right now, don't worry about it. Now with weapons, oh, and I guess I should cover this. These are all like percentage-based resistances to certain stats. If you, like, take 7% less physical damage, that's like basically it. But don't worry about too much about the exact special effects. Just take higher defense, you'll be good to go. Now when it comes to weapons, pretty much the same thing. Don't worry that much about it. Don't worry about the specifics about each of these. Don't worry about min-maxing them. Don't worry about build stuff whatsoever. Just take whatever's great, whatever's better in terms of attack value. So let's say you're using a split staff and you find a split staff that has a higher attack value. Well then, guess what? Just use it. In my case, I only have one fist, so I don't have any better fists. So once I get fists with better attack, I'll just take it. Don't worry about that whatsoever. Now, you're going to see these stats here, and just going to give you a brief rundown so you understand how they work in case you are interested in anything to do with min-maxing. I don't know why you would, but just in case you do, here's a brief breakdown. Base attack is, as it suggests, base attack power. Nothing too complicated. Don't worry about any math. You've got 3 attack bonuses. This is basically going to tell you how a weapon scales. So fists scale the most with strength, second with dexterity, and third with heart. As you can imagine, a D+ grade isn't really that great, so if you're trying to min-max via heart, then it's not going to work out. If you want to min-max with the fists, then you would pump a ton into strength, and you do pretty well. And every weapon has different scalings. As you can kind of see with the letter grades, they kind of change. Different weapons, of course, have different base attack powers, so it can kind of give you an idea, especially with all the Demon Horde weapons. You can kind of see what hits the most in general as the weapon class. So axes generally hit the hardest, followed by the Odachi, and you can kind of get a brief idea of how each of them works just based on this. Fists, of course, don't do that much damage comparatively, but that's also because they're level 1 and it's not a true comparison of each of these. But again, if I had compared all the level 1 versions in the interim, the starting area, then I'd get a better idea. But okay, let's just finish this information dump. So, what is break and what is block? All right, these are really good questions. Break is basically how much key damage you can inflict against your enemies when they are blocking. This only applies to them when they are blocking. The higher your break, the more you can shred them. Block is, of course, the other way around. The more block you've got, then when you're blocking, you don't take as much key, and you can't get screwed up as much. The higher these numbers, the better. All right? And you might expect weapons that have, say, more heft to them to be able to smash through, and you would be right. Look at this axe. 124 block. I don't know exactly what that number really means, but it seems like a lot compared to, like, let's say the fists, which don't seem to have as much break with their normal hits, right? So yeah, I mean, axe is going to hit like a truck, so is the Odachi. You wouldn't expect a spear to hit as hard against someone who's blocking, or even necessarily tonfa or hatchets, or just other sorts of things, so you can kind of rely on your intuition here. But okay, that was a massive information dump, and I did not intend for it to be 15 minutes, but there's a lot of information, so take your time and go through this little module as you need to. I will see you guys in a bit.